Hey everyone, it is Tanisha Johnson. We are live for the first time via our YouTube channel. Extremely excited about this. Sorry for joining late. Had a little technical difficulties, but we're going to get started within a few minutes. I'm going to allow some time everyone to connect for the subscribers on the channel, for them to receive the notification and to join. But I did receive a couple of questions via email that I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to talk about some topics that I would just like to share. And keep in mind, we're going to do this for the month of June every Thursday. So this is a really great event. This is showing our support. Over 22 million people are out of work at this time. So I want to offer any information or any questions that you have about resume design, online presence, how to search for a job, any questions, I'm definitely going to answer that for you and help you. So that way you are confident and you're competitive in this demanding job market, of course. So we're just going to wait a few minutes and we're going to allow people to connect, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. I hope you guys are enjoying your Thursday. It is such a beautiful day here in Houston, Texas, wherever you are. I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. I know we have a lot going on with the COVID-19 and in quarantine. So I hope that you guys are doing well, that your mental health is well during these hard times. Okay. And then, of course, I'm coming live from my room. As you can see, my cat will be joining us too. Her name is P. Dot. So we welcome P. Dot as well. And let's go ahead and get started, guys. So the first thing that I definitely wanted to discuss is online presence. And with a lot of things going on right now, with the George Floyd case, I noticed that a lot of people are commenting, of course, giving their feedback, their opinions on the situation. But we also still have to be mindful, especially when we're working for corporations, that we are an extension of the company. And anything that you express, whether it's online or offline, that can be seen as the views of the company that you work for. And this is why it's very important anytime that you start with a job, a corporation, what they do is they go over as far as code and ethics, they go over policies. And those policies will cover a wide range of topics. And one of them is definitely as far as your online behavior, your behavior when you're out and about representing the company. I noticed that a lot of individuals who have posted very harsh comments on threads or on live videos, your company is able to find that information on the internet. Or if they don't find it, someone else who may have found your comment offensive or derogatory, they will be able to see if you have on your profile that you work for a certain company. They will be able to reach out to that company and let them know that these are the views that you've expressed online. And that can negatively impact your job to the point of where you're fired, or if you receive like a corrective action or placed on some type of probation. So we have to be mindful when you're posting. I know that all of us have our opinions in regards to the current events that are going on, but we have to be mindful that we are a representation of the company that we work for. So you cannot post harsh content online, derogatory content, anything that can be offensive to others. And I know that a lot of people, I get this question all the time, well, what is considered offensive? What I would say is if you were at work and you just say, for instance, if your boss was in the same area, would you be able to post that comment? Think about that comment that you're posting. Would you be able to post that comment and let your supervisor read it? And that'll help you there. The comments, I understand everybody is passionate. I am too, but we have to be mindful. We're extensions of the company, and we do not want to put out any negative views that our company or shares the same views as you. For instance, I've seen a lot of comments in regards to racism. And people are posting different things and saying very nasty things online. And of course, that's going to offend anyone. So they have been reported. And from most of the cases that we've seen, the individual has been fired from the company, because one thing that a company will not tolerate is racism. That is one of them. Just, discrimination based on race, sex, age, religion, all of that. That's typically grounds for immediate termination. So you have to post only things that are positive, or as I state, don't post it at all. It's okay to have a personal discussion in your privacy of your home with family, but be mindful of when you're online that information can be traced. Also, companies have, majority of companies, they have the capability of being able to do searches on the internet. And, they'll have someone designated or department that's designated to ensure that their community relations, that their feedback that they're receiving or anything associated with the company is appropriate and positive. Because one thing you have to remember, your company has a lot of business ties as far as relationships with other vendors, other companies. You don't know who knows who. So it's best to be mindful of what you post online. Make sure that if you're going to post anything, it's positive and friendly content, not anything derogatory, or you can find yourself being called into your supervisor's office and being advised that you're either A, fired, B, placed on a probation, or corrective action. And so I wanted to share that information with you all because it's very important. We are extensions of our company, and it can be seen that your views are shared with the company that you work for, and that's not necessarily the case. Okay, so make sure it is positive, guys. Make sure that it's friendly content, that you're respecting others. And once again, you can always have that conversation in the privacy of your home. Okay. So another thing that I wanted to get over to was for the 2020 class of 2020. First off, let me say congratulations to everyone, class of 2020. You made it. That is something to be absolutely proud of. And what I would like to talk about is the questions that I received in my email in regards to how to design your resume when you have little to no experience. And so that way you can make sure that you are not bypassed or looked over by hiring managers who are seeking, top-notch talent. Everyone knows that recruiters, corporations are looking for graduates to work within their company. First off, you've just completed all of your studies, so you definitely have as far as the knowledge. And then also, mostly when you're in college, you are, as far as affiliated with other, I would say, programs that you might decide to join that is related to your studies or related to as far as the field that you're majoring in. So the question is how can I design my resume? What can I add to the resume so that way, I'm not looked over as someone who doesn't have experience. So you're just graduating from college. I always recommend you to sit down and first just do like an outline. It's very important to do an outline. You want to think about as far as all your relevant coursework. That is something that you can add to your resume to show in regards to the job. It has to be relatable to the skill set for the job that you're applying to, right? So you can add any relevant coursework that you have taken that shows education, that you have knowledge, expertise in the job that you're seeking or the area that you're studying in. Another thing that you can add, a lot of college students, if they did not work, they may have joined some type of program or even be an intern that's non-paid. Now, another thing to also clear up, back in the day, internship is typically non-paid, but some companies will pay you during an internship as well. And this is directly set up with the recruiters, the college, and as well as the corporations. There's so many corporations that have direct ties with the college campuses, and they're looking for that fresh new talent coming straight out of college. So you can always list your internship on your resume. That shows that you not only have experience within as far as knowledge from learning, but you also have the experience hands-on working in the environment as well. So that's really good to add to your resume. Another thing to add to your resume as well is as far as any activities that you participate in, any activities that is relatable to the job, relatable to the skill set for the job that you're applying. You can add that information. I always hear, should I add a career objective, career summary? I recommend that you definitely add your career summary or your career objective. Those two are the same thing, okay? And typically your career objective or summary is going to be the very first section of your resume. And this information is where you're going to sell yourself, market yourself correctly. So when you market yourself, you want to make sure that first off, you're able to display the skill set that you have, the expertise that you have that's relatable to the position that you're applying for. So of course, in your career objective, you want to showcase as far as your tenure within your studies. If you want to break down any type of affiliations that you're a part of that's relatable to the skill set and the job that you're applying to, you can also list your skills. Underneath your soft and your hard skills. Those are always great to add to your resume. Your soft skills pretty much shows how you interact with others, your personality as an individual. Now, of course, your hard skills, more technical, that is something that you have learned, something that you studied and you have learned. So exact. So you want to add that in as well. And you want to attract the hiring manager or recruiter. So it's good to see and list those skill sets. And it's also good for when word searches are done from recruiters or hiring managers looking for top-notch talent. They will use keyword searches, and those keyword searches within their portal will be able to pull up your resume. Say if they're looking for someone with a certain IT experience, and then on your resume you have that listed as a skill set, that is exactly what they're looking for, and they're able to search and find you through the keywords. So make sure that you're always including that information on your resume. Now, another thing that you can also list, of course, is the education. You want to list as far as the university where you've attended. And this, we're still talking, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about our 2020 class, how to go ahead and design your resume effectively. So that way you can get that job, get the career that you're looking to start. This is why you work so hard throughout the 4 years. So, hey, it's time to find the job, the salary that you're looking for. So make sure that you list your education. I always tell my clients to make sure that they include not only the university, of course, you want to list the graduation date, also list any honors, accolades, list that information as well. That is good to show on your resume. Okay, so far we've discussed adding the education, adding any affiliations that you have that is relatable to the work that you're doing, relatable to the skill set that the corporation is looking for, and then also your career objective or summary. You want to make sure that it's strong and effective, third person when you write it, and it's really just selling yourself. If you would think about it in this way, say if you were just going in front of a crowd. You were going to host an event, and before you host, someone introduced you. How would you like to be introduced? You think of that, and you know you want to pull out those heavy hitters. When I call heavy hitters, that is pretty much what you can do for the company. Show them that you're an achiever, not just a doer. I always like to tell my clients to include their tenure. The tenure is very important to include because that shows the time frame of your expertise and knowledge. And that's at a glance firsthand. And then, of course, make sure you add your soft and your hard skills, okay? That's very important to do. Now, another question that I did receive in my account is, do you list references on your resume? Now, I always advise my clients to make sure that you do have a separate document available that has a list of your references, okay? I don't necessarily recommend to include them on the resume themselves because the resume should show as far as all the expertise, knowledge, I would say create a separate document for the references. And references, you can just provide their full name, provide their email address, because a lot of companies, corporations, they're going to send out reference checks via email, or they could call as well. So you want to have both options. You want to include the full name of the reference that you're providing. As far as their relationship to you, you want to outline that as well. Then you also want to include their email address, all contact information, telephone number. In some cases, some individuals like to add an address, but of course, not everybody wants to give out their address. But those are the key elements to add for your reference. And of course, make sure that it's a polished document, that the format is consistent. Okay. And then make that a separate document instead of including it on your resume. Now, if a client just wants to have a section that shows reference, what I would do is just say reference are, available upon request. But I would just recommend keeping it a separate document. Okay. Now, another thing that I wanted to discuss along with the online presence is making sure that everybody is aware of the new normal. Ever since, COVID-19, we have all been affected, whether it's negative or positive. We've all been affected by COVID-19, and we're experiencing this new normal where corporations, everybody, every individual in the world is having to change how we operate and do business. And it's definitely forcing us to operate effectively. In order to operate effectively, we have to, live this new normal. So now a lot of our corporations, most of employees are working from home because of COVID-19. And with that, you're working remotely and you're pretty much doing everything virtual. We're having virtual meetings, virtual conferences, virtual hiring as well. Some companies are starting to, hire again after receiving funds, for the COVID-19 relief. So a lot of companies are holding virtual interviewing sessions. So what I want to discuss is making sure that you are maximizing your online presence, meaning you are actually on LinkedIn. And I know a lot of people say LinkedIn, I don't want to do LinkedIn, but LinkedIn is very important. And the reason why is because a lot of our companies are looking at LinkedIn as a source in order to hire top-notch talent, because LinkedIn is such a great tool to use. Not only do they have LinkedIn for the job seekers, they have LinkedIn for the recruiters and hiring managers. They also have wonderful applicant tracking software, as far as programs for recruiters to use. So that way they can find top-notch talent and help them manage while they're looking for employees to join their team. So I always encourage you, if you are not on LinkedIn at this time, to join LinkedIn. They have an awesome promotion where you can do a trial period on your LinkedIn account where you're going to be able to access premium features such as being able to, when you apply for a job, being able to communicate directly with that hiring manager or recruiter. And you guys know that that's a plus. Back in the day, we were just in the dark. When there was a job requisition posted, you only applied for it and you just had to wait until you heard back because there was no contact information provided from the company. But now you can apply for a job and 9 times out of 10, they're going to have, as far as the contact information for the individual that's going to be reviewing all of the resumes and selecting who's going to be shortlisted. And shortlisted meaning who's going to be interviewed. Okay, for the position. So you want to join LinkedIn, maximize your online presence. LinkedIn is pretty much just like a virtual profile. A lot of hiring managers and recruiters use LinkedIn to find their talent. So say, for instance, you submit a job application to a company. The hiring manager, they see your information based on the application and your resume, and they say, I think this person would be a great fit. Let's see if they're on LinkedIn. Or they're going to immediately go to LinkedIn or social media to search you. And Trust me, it's not uncommon. I used to be a recruiter myself. I worked in human resources for over a decade. And this is just what we do. This is a part of making sure that you're choosing the right individual to come in and interview for the position. Okay. So on the LinkedIn profile, the main thing that we're looking at or that corporations are looking for is first your professional photo. Everyone must be aware that on LinkedIn, a professional photo receives, as far as a profile with a professional photo, receives 4 times more reviews than a profile without a photo. Okay. So this is your chance to show the hiring manager or corporation a professional photo of yourself to show that you are polished, you're neat, that you are professional. So I always have my clients, add a great photo. Now, not a photo with the family, okay? Let's talk about that too in regards to the photo selected. I know we have family or we have that one picture that you think is just an awesome picture of you, but there's someone else in the photo or an animal in the photo, like my P dot right now laying on the bed is a part of this video. We would not want to post that photo. You want it to be a professional photo facing forward, solid background, a nice smile, professional look. Okay. And then, of course, on your profile itself, there is so many sections on LinkedIn that you can fill out. In the beginning, when LinkedIn had launched many years ago, there was only limited things that you can add on your profile, such as your work history. You could also add information about your affiliations or any type of volunteer work that you've done. But now it has broadened. It's almost like you can put all of your life right on LinkedIn, and for a hiring manager or recruiter to see it all at a glance, right? You can add not only just your photo, your work history. You'll be detailing each company that you worked for. I always recommend that you add the bullets of your job description as well. You can add awards, achievements, and recognitions. Also keep in mind on LinkedIn that others can endorse your skill set. Now, I don't recommend that you just go on LinkedIn and start connecting with everybody, anybody. There has to be a reason, right, of why we connect. I would suggest that you connect. Excuse me, I'm just getting a little come here. But I would suggest that you would connect with individuals that you are definitely trying to build a relationship with, and not just a blind connection where I send someone an invite to connect on LinkedIn and, there's not a hello or why are we connecting? Because the first question I always have is, why is this person wants to connect with me? So it's always great that when you send out a connection to connect with other business individuals on LinkedIn, send a message saying who you are, introducing, and why you're wanting to connect with this individual. I think that is just professional, it's courteous, and then it allows you to have solid connections, okay? And just not you sending out 1,000 connections and everybody just adding each other. Okay. You can also have others endorse your skill set. I think that is really neat. So that means that peers that you've worked with, coworkers, supervisors, management, they are able to endorse your skill set. And that helps show the hiring manager and corporations your area of expertise. So always try to endorse your skill sets by making sure you have your skill set endorsed. So make sure that you add all of your skills that are applicable to your expertise. Okay. In addition to that, you're even able to add like publications. If you have any articles that you have published, you're able to put that information on LinkedIn. I think that that's really great as well, because that again shows the hiring manager and recruiters your level of expertise. Okay. And then amongst a whole other lot of things, you can also, like I said, add your affiliations that are relatable to your scope of work, what you do. That is really good to show. You can show as far as your volunteer work, what you do within the community. In addition, you can also showcase any additional languages that you speak as well. any other talents that you have as well on your LinkedIn profile. So it's best that you go over to LinkedIn and make sure that you create your profile today. Now, I know there's a lot of individuals who have a LinkedIn profile, but they say, Miss Johnson, I have the LinkedIn profile, but I haven't touched it in years. And I tell them, well, it's time. Like my mom, we used to do spring cleanup. It's time to clean up. It's time to clean up the profile, okay? It's time to get serious about your career. And of course, if you want to obtain anything in life, you have to do some things that you've never done before. You have to get yourself out of the comfort zone. And we've all been through this in life. We can all definitely relate. So you want to be out of your comfort zone. You want to show that you are doing everything possible to maximize your success. We keep in mind that we are now 22 million people that are out of work and that are going to be looking for jobs. So you're going to have to be competitive, meaning you're going to have to stand out. You're going to have that LinkedIn profile. So if it's not completed, I suggest that you go over and complete your LinkedIn profile. And another cool thing about LinkedIn is that when you create your profile and it's not 100% completed, it'll take you through step by step, section by section. So the only thing that you have to do is just log in and get to work. And I'm telling you, it will help you in your success. Having that LinkedIn profile will definitely help you. I always recommend it. It's the first tool that hiring managers look at in order to see if they can put a face with the name, and then to see what other talents that you have and other connections that you have. And the good thing with that, with your other connections, you never know who may knows who. So it's always great to make sure that you have those solid connections. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next topic, and I hope you guys are enjoying. Like I said, I'm going to be doing this every Thursday. Our next session is going to be on the 18th and then the 25th. So we're going to do this every single Thursday of June. Right now, I'm still working with seeing if we're going to continue it. You guys know on our website, www.jinnovativeservices.com, that we post vlogs and blogs every Thursday. And trust me, that is some really good content that's posted. So go over to our official website. I'll make sure that I have that over in the bio. That's going to give you a lot of information, some great tidbits that you may be seeking. And we do that every Thursday. We, of course, are not doing any of the blogs and vlogs this month of June 2020 because we're going to actually be going live with you guys. Like I said, every Thursday this month, June. That's 2 more sessions for June. We'll go live from our YouTube platform is now. So that way we're helping you guys. And, definitely I want to get feedback. So definitely share your feedback in regards to the video. And, if you think that we should definitely continue going live, then, hey, I will continue going live as well from here on. Okay. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about that I did receive via email is a question in regards to how to look for a position. Well, how to not get discouraged when looking for a job with a record. Okay, and that is a really good question. I have had clients in the past, great clients that have a criminal background, and they're looking for work. And they needed career coaching on how to effectively look for work at the same time and not be discouraged, because we have to be realistic, and that's step one. That I go over with my clients. You have to be very realistic. I think anytime that before you execute an action is that you first sit down, write down your objective, and write out all the pros and cons, okay? And that way you would be able to effectively see what you're going to be up against. So that way, when you do experience a rejection from a company, you're going to be able to take that and say, okay, I was rejected. There has to be something better for me. When one door closes, another open. I always tell my clients there's a lot of corporations. There's changes with as far as criminal background. Certain charges, misdemeanors, may not even be looked at as negative as well. It depends on the time frame, and most companies will advise it on the application before you apply. They would have you list as far as the type of misdemeanor, or if it's a felony, whatever the type of crime it is. But I do know that the misdemeanors there are giving you, leniency on misdemeanors. So they might not even consider that as something criminal, to look at on the background. But I always advise my clients to be honest. When you're applying for a position and you have a criminal background, be honest on your application, because if you do not, think of it as in the same light if someone came up to you and offered you something but didn't give you the full 100% truth, and then you made your decision based off that information provided. And then when it comes out in the wash, as my mom would say, when it comes out the truth, then, at that time, another decision has to be made, because you practically lied. That's exactly what you did. Let's just be honest. So we always want to be honest about what we've done in the past. If you have a criminal background, honesty shows me that you accept what has happened and that you have not allowed it to deem you as who you are. You are a changed individual. So, you are accepting what you did, you've made a change, and you're going forward. If you lie about something in regards to your criminal background, then that shows that this person cannot be trusted. In addition, you have not accepted just yet responsibility or accountability for your actions, so that way you could be successful. So on tips on not getting discouraged, I always say sit down, write out the pros and the cons, write out your values as well, your self values and what you can contribute to a company. And I want you to remember that and have that in your mind, that you are valued. You may have a criminal record. Well, we've all done something in life that we were just not caught or no one else knows. So I suggest write down pros and cons. Get familiar to what you're going to experience. You're going to experience some rejection, but also keep in mind that when one door closes, another opens. There may be another company or a recruiter or corporation that says, you know what, we can overlook this and we'll give this individual a chance, because we've all been there before where someone had to give us a second chance in life. And that's a fact. Now, in addition to that, on not getting discouraged, that's why I advise to write down self-values. Write down what you contribute, what makes you amazing, because you are amazing. We all are. But what makes you amazing, and you feel that and you truly understand that. Understand who you are and what you're bringing to the table, and be confident in who you are. Okay. And that'll let the hiring manager know, hey, this person, yes, they did make a mistake. They paid their dues to society. They've changed their life around. They've done this. I'll give him a chance. Okay. And for the company that does not give you a chance, don't get upset. Don't get bit out of shape. Just when one door closes, another opens, and you keep going on the path of positivity. Okay. Now, another thing too, I suggest to all of my clients, and this is just, well, all of my clients, but even to those who have a criminal background, if you're finding it very difficult, I also tell you to think about entrepreneurship as well, because you have talents. See what you can do, go into business yourself, start your company, do it the right way, get your DBA. You can also, there's a lot of businesses as far as online, a lot of companies that are looking to showcase freelancers in your work, or you can do it yourself independently. But you can actually go online, and they have the capability of where you can list as far as your criminal background or have it pulled. And I can tell you, for those that's going to pass you up, that's fine, it's understandable. But at the same token, there's going to be some that are going to say, hey, this person is honest from the get-go. And then you show them the work that you've done and get reviews for your work that you've done for others. They're not going to be as reluctant to, work with you. They're going to definitely give you a chance, okay? Because we've all been there, and we have to stick together and help one another, okay? So don't ever get discouraged if you have a criminal background. background. You have taken accountability for your actions. You paid your debt to society, and you changed your life around. And you are just as much as valued as any individual. Okay? So do not get discouraged, because it's definitely easy to be discouraged and to be in a place of depression, high anxiety. I do not recommend that. I recommend you to stay within the positive, positive side of things, to look for the victory instead of being a victim. Okay. So right now it's about 12:48. We'll be going offline in a little bit, but I did want to cover some additional topics that we have as well. Now, this is in regards to resume design, and a lot of my clients want to know, as far as how far back should they start their work history, as far as which companies to add. And I always advise my clients that employers like to see within the last 10 years. As far as your work history, when you list that on a chronological order on your resume. So make sure that you start with all companies that you list on your resume are within the last 10 years. I know that a lot of individuals like to include additional work from that time frame because, yes, that is a part of your expertise. But of course, me being a resume designer, I always advise my clients we have other ways that we can showcase that information on your resume without having to list a flood of work history, right, on your resume. So you want everything within the last 10 years. And now another thing to be mindful of is when you list your work history, if you don't have any gaps in your work history, that's great. If you do have some gaps in your work history, that's fine as well. There's a different situation for each individual as to why they may have gaps in their work history. Me being a resume designer and career coach, just looking at some of the reasons why individuals may have a gap in their work history. Say, for instance, a family, they had the birth of a child. So they took some time off in order to, raise the child to a certain age, and now they're ready to get back in the workforce. Some individuals have have gaps in their work history due to being a contractor. I used to be a independent contractor myself. I would work independently or work with staffing agencies, a third party. So when working with a third party and being a independent contractor, there you're able to you're able to work on multiple assignments or multiple contracts, meaning work with multiple corporations. So there may be times where you stop, where an assignment has ended, the contract has ended, your work has been completed, you did a great job, and then you're on to the next company. But it may take some time for your recruiter to find you the next job. Okay, so that could be a reason as to why you have gaps in your work history. What I recommend is that if you have any gaps in your work history, be prepared to talk about it with the hiring manager or recruiter if you're selected for an interview. That is highly important to keep in mind. Be ready to discuss as far as the reason for the gaps in your work history. And I always say you want it to be seen as a normal work gap history, not anything to see in a negative light, okay? Because there are some times where you have I've had clients or individuals where they have work gap history because they get a job and they don't like it and they leave. And that can be seen as, a red flag from a recruiter, from a hiring manager. And it's easy to understand because if they see too many gaps or short time frames, and it's not in relation to being a contractor. These are full-time jobs that have been permanent positions that have been, short-lived. They're going to look at that time frame and say, this person moves around a lot. They maybe won't stay with us, so we're not going to go with them. And the reason for that, you guys, is, like I said, I've worked in human resources for some time. It takes a lot of money. It costs a lot of money to onboard individuals into a company. And to go through all of that and to have someone quit at a short period of time, it just really is a negative impact on the company, their costs, their productivity, because they have to now go back and find another individual that is good for the position. So, be prepared to talk about, gaps in your work history. Another thing that I recommend is when you design your resume that you have a cover letter designed as well. A cover letter can cover that information, that bit. We want to keep it brief but thorough at the same time. So you can use that cover letter to discuss the work gap history, okay? And I know people say cover letters, hiring managers don't, read that. What I can tell you, I've seen in the past where it is required that some hiring managers will take the time and read through a cover letter, because just as you are, as a job seeker, selecting a company that you would like to work for, you're making sure that you're researching the company, that it would be a great environment for you. Keep in mind, you're going to be in this work environment 80% of the time. So, you're doing your research on your end to make sure that this company is thorough, that they would be able to provide you what you need in relation to your goal. And keep in mind that the corporation's doing that same thing in regards to you. They're researching you, making sure that you would be a great fit based on the information that's presented to them. So you want to make sure that you include the cover letter. I've even seen where even if the hiring manager did not read the cover letter, it is still required for the position. So still include that information in there. Like I said, brief but thorough, okay? So that means you get to the point very quickly and it's brief, because you also share other topics that you want to discuss in the cover letter as well. But that is one way that you can discuss your work gap history before, sorry about that, before going into the interview, or just be ready if you are selected, okay, for the interview. Now, another thing that I would like to cover in regards to the resume design, everyone is asking, a little bit more information about ATS, and that stands for Applicant Tracking Systems. Now, the applicant tracking systems is highly used by every corporation. It helps them manage all the resume submissions that they receive for job requisitions. It cuts down time on them looking for top-notch talent. This is a system that literally extracts the information from your resume and it grades you on if you're a strong candidate or a weak candidate. And there can be a lot of factors where you end up in a black hole. I call it the black hole because based on the design of your resume can be overlooked or graded incorrectly by the application system, okay? And I say that it's graded incorrectly, but this is why it's so important that if you design your resume or have someone design your resume, that is applicant tracking friendly, okay, ATS friendly. So with the applicant tracking systems, I know that we have all these different versions of as far as formats to design a resume. It's never really a wrong or right way, so to speak. I've seen modern day resumes are selected. I personally like the classic, straight to the point, but still eye-catching, from the font, polished look, all of that formatting. And then I've seen resumes with color, a little splash of color, that is more of the, more these days that when you're submitting a resume, a lot of individuals, you want a max of 1 to 2 pages, depending on as far as the type of work that you do. Of course, sometimes we understand that there's going to be a longer resume than 1 to 2 pages. And like I said, that's based on the work that you do. Okay, say for instance, if you're like in IT or something, then you would have more than just 1 to 2 pages, because that's a wealth of expertise that you would have to list systems and everything like that. But you want to make sure, let's see. You want to make sure that you're being graded correctly by the applicant tracking system, because a lot of people who are top-notch employees end up in the black hole due to the design of their resume. So you want to keep your format simple, okay, guys, and keep it consistent. When I say keep it consistent, if you're going to have a certain bullet type at the top, make it consistent and have it throughout the full remainder of the resume. You don't want to throw off the hiring manager or recruiter with all of these different type of fonts. different type of bullet styles and formatting, because that would mess up your chance per se with the applicant tracking system, because it's going to extract information from that resume and say, hey, this person's a strong candidate, look at them, or this person's they're a weak candidate. And 9 times out of 10, the recruiters and the hiring managers will go with the information that is first extracted and deemed as a strong candidate. Now, you do have some hiring managers and recruiters that will still look at those submissions that were considered not as strong, weak, but you want to make sure that you're in the forefront every time, okay? So you want to make sure that your formatting is simple, be consistent, okay? Not too many different lines. Another thing, I know that we like to add on our resumes, because we can do this in an electronic format, but you can add your basic information as far as your contact information in the header of the document. And in the header part of the document, 9 times out of 10, the applicant tracking system is not going to be able to read it, because it's without a parameters on the actual resume, right? The electronic format. So you have to be careful and make sure that you do not put anything in the header. Make sure that your resume is formatted correctly and that it is consistent, not too many graphics at all, if any. I don't recommend adding graphics. Graphics will throw off the applicant tracking system and you'll end up in that dark hole and you're wondering why you're not getting a call back. It's because of the applicant tracking systems. They are highly important. There's not many companies that are taking resume by hand and printing them all out and going through each resume. That is the old days, and that was fine then. But now we have to be productive at all times at our jobs. So recruiters, hiring managers don't have time to sit all day long going through a pile of resumes. But what they do have time for is to use their softwares to help them manage client submissions, resume submissions, so that way they can spend more time in contacting individuals who are maybe a great fit for the position versus spending all the time trying to sort through a bunch of papers, a bunch of resumes. So keep in mind, keep the format simplistic, simple. I tell all my clients that when they're designing their resume, to keep it simple but still eye-catching. And that's the good thing about hiring a resume designer. A resume designer can assist you with that design. So that way you're not getting yourself caught up in that dark hole that everyone seems to fall in. And, that dark hole does not care whether you're the top-notch talent. It will throw you in there if you have a picture on your resume, okay? And this is why I tell individuals to create the LinkedIn profile. If you want to add a picture, go to your LinkedIn profile. And the cool thing about it now is the new normal, of course. You can add your LinkedIn profile directly to the resume. So there's no need for the hiring manager, say, for instance, if they do not look at your LinkedIn profile initially when they selected you for an interview, you can definitely leave it on your resume in the part of the intro. That's the part of your intro part of the resume. Your contact information, you add that LinkedIn profile link. We all have it. You just go into your LinkedIn profile and share it, and it'll give you the code. You can copy it and place it as a hyperlink on your resume. So that way, when the hiring manager receives it, they select you based off of just your resume alone, and they say, oh, well, let me also look at the LinkedIn. That's another good tool in order to be, selected, and they don't have to do much footwork. They can just hit the link directly and go over straight to you. That's being proactive. That's maximizing your chances of success and getting hired. Okay? I'm going to take a second here and just get a sip. Now, another thing that I did want to discuss, along with, we've already discussed as far as the online presence. And guys, I'm just going to reiterate that again, because I've seen people that I know be fired from their jobs because they were on Facebook, Instagram, or just rather on a news channel forum. They've given their feedback, because I understand, especially with the George Floyd case, we are all definitely saddened by that event and many events like that has happened over in the past years, too many to count. And it's unfortunate that, racism is still prevalent, but we have to control our emotions, okay? Control how we react online. We have to remember that we work for a corporation. You work for a corporation that has standards that you have to adhere to, policies, guidelines that you have to adhere to. And it's not saying that you can't go on the internet or freely discuss and give your opinion or how you feel about a matter that's taking place in current events, but you have to be mindful of how you execute it. It has to be positive. And like I said, if you have to question, should I post this or not? Think of it this way. Could my supervisor read this comment that I placed and not be seen as a harsh, derogatory statement, offensive? Does this go along with the company guidelines? And another thing that you can do is refresh yourself. Every year, every company should have some type of annual compliance training to make sure that their employees are aware of their guidelines, because we all have to have that refresher. Back in the day, you would just get one training course and there was no additional training after that. But now companies are valuing, their business, they're valuing their employees. So they make sure that they have an annual compliance training or testing. So that way you are able to be reminded that these are the things that we do and don't do. Okay. So be mindful, control your emotions. I know I've seen some comments that have been downright nasty, and it hurt me to my heart. And as much as you want to reply, I would just say have that conversation in the privacy of your home, privacy of you and another friend, because any derogatory statements that are being made online, and you perhaps may have your work listed, and you may not even have your work listed on your profile, but individuals somehow can still pull that information, and you never know who knows who, so you want to be mindful of that. To not post anything derogatory, only positive content. Okay, guys, remember, if you can't post it, if you couldn't let your supervisor read it, then do not post it at all. Okay, and just kind of going over everything that we talked about. We talked about online presence, and I just reiterated that. We talked about how not to be discouraged when you're looking for a job and you have a criminal background. We talked about the class of 2020, how to design their resume when you may not have a lot of content to place on your resume. But I want you to know that you do have a lot of content. That's why it's good to get with a resume designer like myself. So that way we can assist you in pulling out those accolades that we can use to design an effective resume for you, okay? Because corporations are looking for you. I'm going to be very honest. A lot of corporations already have that direct contact relationship with the university, where the university helps them in selecting the top-notch students, the students with the top-notch talent, and having them work for them directly. And you're going to be offered a salary, and everything is going to be executed through the college along with the company that is looking for an employee like yourself. So remember that to include, we talked about everything to include on the resume, which you could include just some tidbits as well. And then also we talked about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very important. LinkedIn will help you maximize your online success. So I would suggest that you go over to LinkedIn and design your profile. Also take advantage of the premium offer. I believe it's like up to a 30-day offer that they will allow you to connect directly with hiring managers and recruiters. Isn't that something great? Now, another online source that you can use is Indeed.com. Indeed has been around for years as well. Now, on their platform, they don't have as much capability as LinkedIn, but they're another great tool to use when you're looking for jobs or trying to showcase your resume, so that way recruiters looking for employees like yourself will be able to find you based off of keyword searches or just your submissions, okay? But Indeed.com, that's Indeed.com. Indeed, you can showcase your resume. You can upload it there on their website because a lot of corporations do use Indeed as well. And then what's cool about Indeed is that you can literally list as far as any additional affiliations. You can add salary requirements. You can also put in certain criteria for certain type of employers to reach out to you. Another cool feature that they have is when you submit your resume. Now, some cases the resume is a quick apply process, and everybody loves quick apply process. Um, excuse me. And when I say quick apply, that means that because you've already uploaded your resume into their system and you've entered all the pertinent information that's requested, the job that you apply for, you don't have to fill out an additional application. You just send your resume. And I think that that's really neat with the quick apply. And then they have it where you can not only do it for one, you can actually, once you hit that first submission, it'll have additional submissions on there that you can do a quick apply right down the list. So I know for if you're the type of individual that hates filling out long applications, as well as including your resume, and then you still have to enter the resume information manually, that quick apply function is really awesome. And then in some cases, if it's not a quick apply, then you would have to just be transferred over to the site. It would just redirect you over to their website where you would enter that information. Okay. And then also another cool thing with Indeed is that you are able to, when you apply for a position, you're able to manage those applications that you have submitted. So you can go in and actually see the date that you applied, when you submitted with time, and then you can also see if the person that has listed the job, have they seen your application? It'll let you know if they looked at it. In some cases, if they provide feedback, it'll go strictly to your inbox. So make sure that you have your notifications on. I tell people all the time, if you're looking for a position, you need to have your notifications on for any app or software that you use. So that way you'll be able to know once you receive communication from an employer, because time is money and employers are not going to beg and look for you. They'll give you 2 chances. I've seen in the past where, and this happens all the time. Something may have happened where a phone number changes abruptly, and you have received a call from a hiring manager. That's why it's always important to have your email as well included. And if they reach out to you and they don't hear anything back, it's safe to say that you are not available. So they're going to go to the next individual. Okay. So make sure you have your notifications on so you don't ever miss communication, whether that's email notification that your resume and application's been received, or if it's possible assessments. Always have on your notifications and make sure that you're checking your emails daily, because you know that you are looking for a job. You're putting in that work. So you have to be just as diligent on your end when looking and consistent, so that way you can see success. Okay. And it's not an easy road at all. I would never tell you that it's an easy road when looking for work. I always tell my clients, looking for a job is a job, okay? But if you're prepared for it, then you're able to, face any type of adversity that you receive, or any, issues that you may run into. You're able to handle it better because you have a goal at hand to complete, and you know that it's going to be hard. But like I said, blessings are for everyone. So you will find that job that you love. Don't get discouraged, okay? And another thing just to include for Indeed, as stating last, that, you can do communication right directly with the hiring manager. So, that's also a really good tool. Not a lot of us, softwares have that capability, but that's really good to see. You can see that someone actually looked at it. And then with that being said, you can actually take that information. If there's contact information for whomever posted the job, you can reach out to them and just, checking on the status, you're, interested in that, and then go from there. Okay. Well, we are down to about 2 minutes. We have been recording for about 58 minutes. Like I said, I'm going to do this next. It's going to be June 18th and then June 25th. So today we didn't have anyone within the chat viewing, but like I told you, I'm going to still keep going with the topics that I receive and emails, and then also anything that I would like to go over that, God puts on my heart to discuss with you all. I am a resume designer and career coach. My business is called Johnson's Innovative Services. We're based out of Houston, Texas. We've been in business since 2015. It is my passion helping others stay competitive and confident while looking for a job in this demanding job market. I'm here to help you. I am affected by COVID-19 as well, but I want to give my support because at this time we have to help one another. And this is how we show our support. We're also offering, make sure you go to our website, www.jinnovativeservices.com. We're offering a free 30-minute interview refresher session, guys. This session normally costs $100 for 1 hour. We're going to cut that time down in half, go over key information. It's all key, but we've broken down that information. We're going to go over interview refreshers, so that way you're ready to get back into the field. You feel confident when you go to these job interviews, because the new normal now is when you interview with a panel more than likely, because it takes a village. Just like it takes a village to raise a child, it takes a village to find the best employee to join the company. And on that panel, you'll find not only the hiring manager, but more than likely an individual from HR to ensure that things are conducted correctly. In addition, you're going to have somebody within the department, another set of management that is just, as important as the director or hiring manager. And then you're going to have a contact out of the department, one of the employees that works within the area that you'll be working in, and they also will be a part of the interview and asked to, help the hiring manager make that decision. So I'm extremely excited. I'm going to post this video in just a little bit here for viewers who are not able to see, but I hope that this bless you. We're here to help you. Also, we're slashing our prices 50%. 50%. Okay, guys, that is amazing. So we're just doing the work that we were called out to do. I love helping others and showing my support. I know we all are going through a tough time. Stay encouraged. Be blessed. The fact that you woke up this morning and saw the sunlight is a blessing in itself. You have life, you have breath, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. You just have to put in the work. We have to get out of our comfort zone. I know that we're all saddened by being let go from work, or whether you had to take a pay cut, or we've all been affected, and we've cried those tears, but now it's time to get competitive, get back to work, okay? So I'm going to see you guys here, right here. Me and P-Dot, as you see P-Dot, she's here. We're going to be here next week, next Thursday, doing the same thing. I hope to see some participants. If not, we're going to still go over some topics that I feel like I would like to talk about, things that has put on my mind to discuss with you to help you with your resume design, with your career coaching, your online presence, everything. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching this video. You have a blessed week. I'm going to see you next Thursday. Make sure you visit our homepage, our website. We have our Facebook, our Instagram on there as well, even our Thumbtack profile. Give us a holler, give us send me an email, let me know how I did. I'm just doing this first time. I hope it's great, but I mean, hey, I just want to share valuable information and be a blessing. Y'all have a good day.